Hey guys, I'm Mishi.
And I'm Bria.
And this is Kicks and Skittles. Welcome back, guys. Happy Friday! So today, we're going to talk about faith in music, but first we're going to give some shout outs. First, I want to shout out Matt, because I was working in the library this week and he told me that I need to listen to Bring Me the Horizon's new album, which we already talked about earlier. And Bria said that she tried to listen to it. I actually still haven't tried to listen to it yet because I've just been busy. So I told him I would listen to That's the Spirit. I will give you my update eventually, hopefully in the next video that we do, or next week. But anyways, so yes, shout out to Matt. And there's a lot of new music that released this week, like
yes, there's a lot. Someone that we both listened to, whose name we're not sure is pronounced Love or Love, but it's spelled L-A-U-V.
I think it's Love. But anyway, Lost in the Light EP, which I literally just asked Bria, I'm pretty sure yesterday, like, when is he ever going to release a new EP? And he released it today.
I know, and like literally I woke up and I saw it on Spotify and I was like, it was literally the reason why I got up and like went to class today. Because I was going to sleep late.
Yeah, I jammed to Re-Forget like every day of my life, probably 3 times a day.
And his EP is super good, so you should definitely check it out. Yes. We're going to be doing an album review for it actually being released tomorrow.
Yes. So if you like alternative R&B, check that out. Or if you don't, just still check it out.
Yeah, and then One OK Rock released something, which I'm pretty sure like everyone knows about.
Yes, their album, is it 3535? Is that how you say it? Because it's 35, I think it's 3535. Anyways, and we've listened to a little bit of it right now, and so far what we've heard is like amazing.
Yeah, I've listened to the whole thing.
The whole thing? I haven't listened to the whole
thing. And it's like it's super good. We're going to do an album review on that also, which will also go up tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot happening tomorrow.
Yay, 2 album reviews tomorrow.
But it definitely is.
It's so good. I've heard 2 of the ballads, Heartache and Last Dance. Yeah. Oh my gosh, okay. We'll just talk about that tomorrow. Anyways.
Sam Smith also released something today. It's called Writings on the Wall. It's part of the James Bond movie that's coming out. And we didn't listen to the whole thing. We listened to some of it, and it's super intense and very dramatic. But his voice is amazing, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so he released that, and then the Pope has come to America this week, and literally today.
That's not our faith. We're not Catholic.
We're not Catholic, but it is a faith.
Yeah.
A type of faith. Anyways.
I'm super pumped about it, even though I'm not Catholic, because this Pope is amazing.
Yes. So he visited the U.S. this week, and Alternative Press tweeted that he is releasing an album.
A progressive rock album. Which we did preview, because one of the singles is already on SoundCloud. I don't know if it's real or not.
I know, it's like...
I can't tell if it's real or not.
That song was like mostly instrumental, and then him speaking at the end, and then people applauding afterwards. So I was kind of like...
But that was just like in the middle of the song.
Was that in the middle?
That was just the middle of the song.
It was the end of the song.
It was not the end.
How long was it?
It was like a 5-minute song.
Oh.
I don't even know.
Okay, well...
But you can pre-order it on iTunes, apparently. So if you're super interested in Pope Francis and...
So, that's just... That is insane to me.
It really is actually insane.
Okay.
It literally is insane.
So he's apparently releasing new music, which, I mean, if you're interested in that, you should check that out, I guess. Basically, that's going to be our little segue to our topic of faith in music. So, Bria and I are both Christians.
Basically, the foundation of Christianity, despite what people make it out to be or what people think it is love. Like, it's a story about love. It's a story about the creator of everything, of the universe, the perfect holy being that has placed everything into existence. Loves you. That's the foundation of Christianity, is that this holy, perfect being loves you and wants you to be part of his kingdom, basically.
I mean, I recognize that, by the grace of God, I recognize that I am a sinner and that there's nothing I can do to save myself from sin, from being the way I am.
That's why people are selfish and
greedy.
Yeah, that's greedy. That's why we are not able, and I think at least I feel like everyone can probably admit this.
Yeah.
That's why we struggle so much with life, basically, is because there is this sin nature that's inherent in us, that's preventing us from the love of this holy creator. This is Colossians 2:13 through 14. Okay. When you were dead in your sins And in the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made you alive with Christ. He forgave us all our sins, having canceled the charge of our legal indebtedness, which stood against us and condemned us. He has taken it away, nailing it to the cross. So like that's like a pretty succinct sum of like what the gospel is. It's like our sin nature must be paid for because we can't stand before a perfect and holy God bearing sin.
Sure can.
And like sin naturally leads to death. So in order for us to be free from death, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, like God himself, willingly stepped into our place to pay that fine with his perfection, because we can't. We're not perfect. So Christ stood in our place and like took on that debt
sins of the world.
Yeah, took
past,
on that debt.
Future.
Paid the penalty, which was death, but then because he is God, rose again, defeating that penalty and giving us the opportunity to partake in life and love.
If we accept him and accept the fact that he is our Savior and he's the only sacrifice that can be made for that. So
that's a free gift that anyone can partake in.
Anyone, as in like anyone. You, everyone. Like, I don't care where you've been, what you've done, the background of your family.
Yeah, like, just for instance,
anyone.
The man who wrote this, like the Bible is a compilation of many authors, and this is a letter from like a man named Paul to a church that has recently been started. And the man who wrote this letter was a murderer of Christians. Like, that's the first thing that's his first interaction with Christianity was, I hate them, I'm going to kill them all. And God used him, even him, a murderer of the people that God loves and has brought into his kingdom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, God used him to like pen what we now call our New Testament in our Bible. Like, God is able to
restore.
Yeah, like God is able to restore that. God is able to pay that penalty for you so that you don't have to pay for it yourself. Yeah. Like,
exactly, and you can live life with the freedom of knowing that Christ has died for you. I feel like people think that Christianity is all about rules and all this stuff. You have to be good and all this stuff. I mean, like, there are things that we have to like, do, like, not like have to do, but like
there are things that because of our faith and the power that we have through Jesus Christ, we are able to do like opposite of our natural tendencies.
Yes, we're called to do those things because of that. But just because we do those things doesn't mean that
we have now
earned our salvation. To think that the God that I serve still loves me despite the fact that I still mess up and I still do things like, I mean, it's just a beautiful, redeemable story. And as a writer, for me, like, that's like the pattern of a beautiful story is like, the beginning, and then there's conflict, something happens, and then there has to be some sort of resolution and something, and then there's redemption at the end. Like, not all stories are made like that where there's redemption, but like, to me, that is a beautiful story when there's redemption and there's sacrifice and love. That's a big deal. So that is like that's our faith. That is our faith, and that is where, I mean, like, our whole being is, and
that's our core identity.
That is our core identity. Like, our core identity isn't that, we go to college, that we're seniors, that we love issues. That we love issues.
Like, none of that actually factors into, like, our identity, because first and foremost, we are now, like, co-heirs, sons and daughters of the holy, perfect God because of his love for us. Like, that is our core identity.
Yes. That's who we are.
Yeah, and that's our faith.
That is our faith. And we have these discussions about like what we listen to a lot of the time, because like there's always this debate about whether Christians should listen to non-Christian music. Non-secular music.
Yeah, non-Christian music. It's always like a big thing. It's like, but it has these things in it, or like, different like that. So
but these songs talk about certain subjects that are like against, these moral like subjects, and there's conflict, and so we're just going to discuss part of that today. And I think like what I've been told, and like, okay, so basically I grew up in a Christian home where most of the time we listen to Christian music because, I mean, it is edifying. It really is. Like, it's very positive. I mean, it's about Jesus, and like, you know, and it's good to just dwell on those things. So in no means are we saying that like Christian music sucks or that it's bad. When I started going to college, I started listening to a little bit more like pop and like R&B and just like exploring. I think actually it happened a little bit during high school and then like happened more when I came to college. But like trying to figure out like more genres of music, and I started listening to more of that. And my stepmom told me this past summer, which is something I agree with, that things that you listen to, like you just got to be careful like what you listen to depending on like the mood that you're in. So if I know for me personally, if I'm angry, even though I love Pierce the Veil, I can't listen to their music just because even though their lyrics aren't like angry or upsetting or sad, then like just the sound of it makes me even more angry or even more upset. How about you, Bria? Explain your...
Okay, yeah, my background's like completely different. Like, I mean, I listened to primarily like rap and hip hop when I was in, I guess like middle school, like elementary school age or whatever. I don't even know. But like during that time period, that's like primarily what I listened to. I never listened to Christian music like ever. Like it's just like not ever something. At least not like contemporary Christian music. Like obviously there's like gospel or like praise songs like in church like we would sing or whatever, and like on the radio there are sometimes like a gospel radio station that plays like praise songs, but like that's like a whole different thing, like contemporary Christian music, which like I had no interaction with like at all. So like then I mean like I started listening, like I don't just listen to like rap and hip hop, like obviously like we talk a lot of different things, but I probably stopped listening to like rap and hip hop like transitioned from like into middle school, and then started listening to like branching out to like whatever other music that was really out there, like all different types of genres.
Yeah. But
But my like experience with Christian music like has not been that intense. Like my mom never like managed. Yeah, she never like managed like what I listened to. Maybe like sometimes she'd be like, "Oh, what album are you about to buy right now?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it's this." But she would never be like, "Oh, you shouldn't." Yeah, like I need to listen to it to make sure it's okay for you to like listen to or whatever. So like that's just not like, it's just never something that's been part of my background. So for me when like these questions like come up with like you should only listen to like Christian music or something, it's just like a really weird thing for me to even approach because it's never been like part of my history. It's like for me it's almost like why would I not be able to listen to this other stuff?
Yeah, for me, like, my family background, like, it wasn't that, like, it was like, oh, it's terrible, it's bad if you listen to secular music, or, you know, in my household, it was more like, you need to understand the lyrics and, like, what you're listening to, because, like, I mean, what goes in does come out, so, like...
Yeah, you do need to be, like, I definitely agree, you need to be, like, really intentional about, like, oh, I'm going to take this stuff in, like, this is going to affect, like, how I think about things, because that's just true. People say like, oh, I don't really like care, it doesn't really affect me. Like it will to some extent, even if like you're able to handle that or not, it's like on you. But like it will have some type of like either like emotional effect on you, or like maybe you're like, oh, like maybe I should start like thinking about these other things more, or like like these themes are gonna be more what I think about if I like listen to like certain types of music. Like that's just objectively a true thing. Like and I feel like that's like a bad argument for a lot of people who like listen, who are like Christians who like listen to like non-Christian music or whatever. They're like, oh well, it doesn't really affect me. It's like that's a bad argument. That's just a lie. Like, I'm sorry if you really used that in the past. That's a lie. Like,
yeah, I think it really like it boils down to like you have to just know yourself and like know your limits and what you can and can't take. Because, like I said, I already said my personal, like, I can't listen to Pierce the Veil when I'm angry or upset because then it'll just make me even more upset. Normally, I can't, if I'm sad, I won't listen to sad songs because it's like, why would I make myself even more sad? Like, it's, you just have to know your limits and know, like, and also just, like, I mean, realize that, like, I mean, there's a lot of, like, music out there that's, like, based on, like, sexual themes and things, and, like, I mean, but of course, like, it's just very interesting to me how, like, even as a Christian community, like, I've noted, like, and we've kind of discussed this, but I've just noticed how, like, there are certain things about, like, oh, we can't do this, we can't listen to this and stuff, but then it's like, like, people listen to Beyonce. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, like, me and another friend of mine had this conversation. Her name is Elsa. I guess I'll give her a shout out or whatever. But, like, we were talking about how, like, yeah, like, even I don't listen to, like, mainstream rap like that's on the radio and stuff like that because it's just like too explicit. Like I do feel like there's a point where it doesn't matter if you think it's not going to affect you or something, or you feel like, oh, it's totally worth it. like, I think there's a point you have to get to where it's like, this actually is not worth consuming. Like, at least for like us as Christians, like, it gets to that point where it's like, this isn't worth consuming. Like, it just like, there's nothing redeeming about this.
Exactly.
There's nothing that's gonna like magically change my life after I listen to this. Like, this is not magically.
Oh,
Like, this isn't gonna help me in any type of like way. Like, it might sound appealing, but like honestly, like, this is not gonna bring anything good to my life. You know what I mean? Like, I think that you reach that point. But we were talking about how, like, yeah, like, so, like, rap, it's like, oh, rap, don't listen to rap, because, like, they rap about sex all the time, but then at the same time, like, pop is largely about sex. We were saying, like, what's the difference with that?
Exactly.
And, like, we had a really interesting conversation, and she was just, like, able to articulate something that I've had in my head for, like, so long, but never been able to put into words. She was like, I think it's because, like, rap has always been, like, word-driven, which is, like, true. Like, rap has always been about, like, words. At least when I was, like, first starting out, and if you get to, like, more underground rap and stuff like that, like, it's about, like, word, it's about, like, the message that's being put out there. Like, that's the core focus of, like, this rap is, like, I'm trying to communicate something to you through the words that I'm using. So I think, like, that's why when you have, like, rap songs that are, like, really demeaning to women and, like, talk about, like, sex and there's, like, lots of unnecessary profanities and stuff like that, it's, like, that's not worth consuming.
It's not worth me.
Wait, whatever. It's, like, that's the primary message is, like, objectification of women, like, all of these, like bad things. You know what I mean? Like, but like for pop is melody driven. So like it's not really about the words. And like it's not about the lyrics really. It's about like what it sounds like. And I think that's like why like rap is like weird now because like it's got more about like oh just these beats or whatever. But it's like really like rap is not about the beats. It's more about like the message that you're sending.
And I feel like that's why most of the time like there are people who like I'll listen like people that I don't expect to listen to certain types of music that will be listening to it and I'm like whoa like do you understand what that's saying and they're just like no I'm just listening to the beat because like I mean pop it's mostly pop like it's mostly just like I just like the beat a lot.
Yeah, so like if I am like I do like I love rap. I love like the art of like rap. Like I'm not saying that I hate rap because that's not true at all. Like I love rap. Like I love hip hop. But if I do listen to it, I listen to like Christian rap or like Christian hip hop, which like may seem like a weird thing, but it's because like it is so biblically sound. Like the message that they're putting out there is like amazing, which is the problem that I have with like contemporary Christian music sometimes because I feel like sometimes they try to sound they're like trying to sound like oh this is just pop music or whatever like that, so then like their message gets like blurred and it's like no like that's not accurate, like the Bible doesn't ever say anything like that, like that's this is stupid, you know. Like sometimes like the songs like not all of them but sometimes the songs are legitimately just like stupid and it's like this is not worth consuming because like it's not even biblically sound. It's not edifying to my life.
People, I mean, people have a lot of issue with like contemporary Christian music, Christians and non-Christians alike. Like, I mean, it just there's something just not like Bria said, not redeeming about it. Sometimes, not all the time, but like, I mean, if you listen to some of it, it's just like, what am I getting out of this? Like, literally, there's nothing in this song that says anything.
I know, and like it's even like offensive to me sometimes. Like even like a step beyond that because I'm just like, okay, now people are gonna have this like version of the gospel or like Christianity that's not even accurate. Like exactly. It's like that's not even like what Christianity is or like anything that like Christianity supports or something like that. But it's like it seems like that's what's happening. But it's like, oh man, it's like no.
What we do like definitely try to like monitor like I guess what we listen. I don't want to use the word monitor, but like just decipher what is good and what is redeemable to listen to. We don't just like be like hey like let's listen to whatever, like it doesn't matter, like I mean we saved, like no, like I mean garbage in garbage out, like what comes in goes out, and so like in speech and anyway, and so like when things like have cuss words in it too, like I mean you start to notice a pattern of like oh my goodness, like that slipped out of my mouth or I almost said that word, like I mean it's a noticeable thing. We've talked mostly about artists, the majority of them aren't Christian music, but we aren't looking at it as like you need to listen to it just because it's awesome or like you know whatever, like we're looking through it as like okay here's some redeemable things from it, and like those are things that you know we think that okay like you can listen to it because of that, but we also advise like certain things of like maybe they're you know they talk about this a little like sex a little bit or you know different things, and so we want to make sure that you guys understand that like you know we do this, but we do this behind the like on the basis of like our faith, that we are Christians, and that is the first thing that's the first thing we are. So don't forget that tomorrow we're going to do two That's 4. 2 album reviews for Love or Love, however you say it, Lost in the Light, and When OK Rock's album 3535. I hope that's how you say that. Anyways.
That's probably how you say it.
So we're going to do 2 album reviews tomorrow, so don't forget that. We'll, post things on social media to remind you guys and such. But don't forget, if you haven't already, follow us on all of our, social media. Our official website is kicksandskittles.wordpress.com. Facebook is Kicks and Skittles. Twitter is @Kicks_Skittles. Instagram is Kicks and Skittles. Well, @Kicks and Skittles.
Tumblr.
And Tumblr is kicksandskittles.tumblr.com. So follow us, and if you really like this video, or if you have any questions or comments, comment underneath the video, or Facebook us, tweet at us,
whatever form of communication.
Any form of communication you want, let us know.
Also, make sure you like our video, give it a thumbs up, and share
and subscribe
it on social medias. Yeah, and subscribe to it. Our YouTube channel.
Yep. And to those who already follow us and like us, thank you so much. We love you guys. We seriously appreciate that you guys watch us every week. It means a lot. At the end of the week, we're kind of exhausted sometimes, but the fact that we get to do this and you guys are able to watch it and you appreciate it, enjoy it, it means a lot. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching.